All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the June 29, 2022 Transportation Committee meeting of the Atlanta City Council. I'm joined by my colleagues, Councilmember Alex Wan, Councilmember Marcy Collier-Overstreet, Councilmember Antonio Lewis, and Councilmember Matt Westmoreland. We'll probably be joined by another councilmember or two shortly. Our first order of business is to, I want to recognize, before we get started, the Department of Aviation's interns are streaming in, so we want to welcome all the interns from the airport. We're excited you're here to see your government in action, for better or worse. So welcome. Our first order of business is to adopt the agenda. Can I get a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Lewis, second by Juan. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda has been adopted.
Our next order of business is to approve the minutes. Could I get a motion? Motion by Westmoreland, second by Lewis. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The minutes have been approved.
We do not have a department or agency report this committee meeting, so we'll move straight into public comment. Could we put up the folks who signed up today for public comment?
Currently have 4, and our first speaker is Brother Anthony Muhammad.
Mr. Muhammad, I think he ran out to make some copies. Can we go to the next person on the list? And we've been joined by Councilmember Keisha Shawn Waits.
Our next speaker is Brian Sumlin.
Mr. Sumlin. Up here.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. So I would like to provide some feedback about a few things to keep on your radar. So since Atlanta has been selected for the World Cup, and congratulations, we are thankful for this opportunity. It's time now to begin to evaluate the More MARTA program and identify the projects and corridors that can be shovel-ready and shovels in the ground by 2026. The East Carr Street extension, in addition to something else like rail-related, should be commissioned before 2026 if we start right away. Atlanta is known for hosting major events. And besides the Olympics, we continue to be on the world stage. Atlanta is pleading for innovation, and in these communities, we're finding it hard that our entities will make it commit to delivering what the people are investing for in the More MARTA program. It is expected soon that MARTA will review and vote on the plan for the Campbellton Road corridor. After the extension period of numerous community engagement sessions, the community hopes that the vote is in support and is in sync with the communities. And we understand that either mode determined for this corridor will not satisfy everyone, but we have to learn from this example. And when the next project comes along, that the decision is made from the community and not behind closed doors from staff. And then at what point is the council going to apply additional pressure on MARTA to start moving to other projects and getting them shovel ready? The community feels that MARTA is dragging its feet, and as a result of each city as a whole, we're going to miss out on the opportunity to secure federal infrastructure dollars, which is under the bipartisan infrastructure law. Innovation is mentioned. The funding is set aside for innovative transportation projects. Thank you.
Brother Muhammad, the floor is yours. 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I had to go get some copies you told me to make, and you couldn't use your workers here to do it, so we think that's foul. When the minister started, I said, okay, I am, Brother Anthony Muhammad. And I come here today for transportation, let you know, as a spiritual man who command his spirituality, teach my soul consciousness every day. I do not believe in the Roman Catholic Church religion anymore. From Genesis to Revelation, in your scriptures of the Bible, not one person, not one human person was born from a woman womb canal. Ashe, Let's see. Mr. Mayor, in 2017, you was the chairman of the Transportation Committee. Miss Overstreet, you know about Button Road, but I'm going to say this to Antonio Lewis or any one of you all as I come down. Westmoreland, you spoke once, Mr. Westmoreland. Help us to get this road paved. I have legislation that was passed in 2017, micro-servicing Button Road. That was caused in 1993. Button Road hadn't had no pavement then or now. But in 2010, you did pave my street because of what? Brother Antonio, you don't know me, but I came down over a year begging and asking. Mr. Martin was very instrumental. And he got the same legislation, same thing passed, and they paved the road, put sidewalks and curbs. But our community, Miss Overstreet, no, we need that. Didn't need that. But, you know, she one vote, she told me, I don't believe in that. I know what is right and just. You should act on it. For the simple fact, you know, I studied history. In 2017, you had a man called Willie Lynch, Mr. Mayor Dickinson. And what he said, Mr. Fawoka, Willie Lynch said that I got a plan to control these indigenous dark people for another 1,000 years. How do you do it, Mr. Fawoka? I bring in all this diversity and have them more favorable. And I have the lighter ones and the dark one fighting against one. I'm a senior man, you call me. I had the elder going against the youth. That's working quite well in America. Because I see you got a celebration for the homosexuals. You get this Biden to give some directorship for them. You get the directorship for the Asian. But the people that suffer, who are the majority of people of this city, we shouldn't have not resources allocated in our district. But Mr. Mayor, let's talk about this road. You told me once I would get it done, Brother Muhammad. But if you don't agitate me, you know, I brought that to y'all in full council. And I'm not going to stop agitating because I know a brother named Frederick Douglass. He said, agitation, until you get resolution. And I accept Mr. Bond, Miss Overstreet. He said that was the right thing to do. So I'm asking you all, is it true, Mr. Faroka, you the transportation chairman of this committee, once you get this legislation, the money should have been allocated and the work should have been done, sir? Now, let me say this. I know you say you don't answer questions, but I watched these meetings. I've seen you do stuff for people in North Atlanta. I'm not against people getting answers. You know, it was something that we're talking about, but we can go research it. But if you don't want to answer me today, you know, I'll find the time to talk with you. But, you know, I don't like you to be unfair. When you talk over that mic,
I'm always happy to talk with you, Brother Muhammad,
yes.
not during public comment. And
fair.
I think we all look forward to receive. If you get copies made, just hand them out. We'll make sure we take them.
I didn't get copy made because I didn't have the opportunity. They told me to come on back, and I didn't want to try to hold you no longer. But you got these people over here working for the city, working on my behalf. They should have a sensitivity. When someone want to make public comments, to go copy. And he arguing with you.
Thank you, Brother Muhammad. Ms. Moon Muhammad is up next.
Ashe Ma'at Mitrat Hotep. Assalamu alaikum.
Good morning, you guys. So I'm here again to speak on the Campbellton Road project from MARTA plan. And really what I'm coming here today is I love that a lot of board members are here from the MARTA. But I really want to talk about how they used Campbellton Road to pass this penny tax with such a big number on Campbellton Road, but yet when it's time to implement it, it's changing. It's not LRT, it's BRT. They've been coming to the community. I understand all of this, but to me, since I've been following it since Ms. Marcy Overstreet and Antonio Lewis presented it to the community earlier this year, I would not have known about this. And since I have heard about this and even speaking to multiple business owners on Campbellton Road, they have no idea about what's going on. And because that the community has no clue what's going on, I do not think that the decision should be made July 14th by MARTA. More people should know what's going on Campbellton Road. I'm 26 years old, and since I have been alive and living in the community, I have not seen not a change to Campbellton Road, and that this more MARTA plan and this more MARTA project would actually bring a change to the community. The number that they're speaking of, it's the minimum that the community deserves, and that they've been talking about this for many years, and planning is a key step to many projects. So I know that they have done the research and the study. So why are they saying that Campbellton Road is unworkable? It's been looking the same for many years. So before they even thought about putting this on Campbellton Road, they knew that we weren't able to be worked on yet. They're saying that it's impossible to get the money from federal government, but yet they set the number. So they should have known that it could have been a risk to get this, and they don't even want to present it to the federal government because it does not seem like it's going to be feasible. And now the community does not want it. I'm hearing the community members that don't want it, but these are people that are 3 times my age. These are people that are afraid of the change that it is going to bring to the community. And I hear their fear, but we cannot fear for many years and let the community stay stagnant. We cannot let the community look the same. We cannot let the community be a desert for no fast food. There are no grocery stores. There are no job opportunities. And public transportation essentially gives the people in the community the opportunity to go elsewhere to get jobs. That's why that bus route is the second most used bus route. 9 times out of 10, those people are with the working class to find job opportunities outside because we don't have it within. I don't think developers are going to come and develop the area as big as it could possibly become when other communities are getting light rail and we would be getting the bus. Why would an investor from anywhere come to Campbellton Road when there are other areas throughout the city that they can develop? This is a big thing, and I don't think that the decision should be made now. More people should be aware of it. Their outreach has been terrible. The amount of people that use the bus route, the amount of people that live in the community, and the amount of people that they have surveyed is not accurate. How can they use that survey number to really determine this? I know I went over it, but to be honest, throughout years in transportation, I-20 was supposed to be on 166, and if you know that living below I-20 is something that has been talked about in Atlanta for many years. Those that live below I-20 do not get investments. Those that live below I-20 do not look the same as those that live above. So why should we still look the same? So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ms. Muhammad. Sherry B. Williams.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Sherry Williams with Georgia Stand Up, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning. The Marta-Campbellton Corridor Transit Project, as most of you know, is complicated. Residents still have high expectations, though. As long as we come together to have an innovative and successful transit project, that's what the bottom line is. Our community meeting yesterday that Marta held was another opportunity for engagement. Attendance was much better than some previous meetings. However, Marta still has work to do on its outreach. Because this project stretches across 4 MPUs, X, S, R, and P, and borders 2 others, Q and I, we will never have a complete consensus. We simply need to understand that we all won't agree. But have you noticed that most of the people that want LRT are non-transit riders or rarely use the system? I did an unscientific survey, and I even asked at yesterday's meeting. Most of the people, the 43%, I think, in this Marta survey, who wanted BRT, most of them are regular transit riders. So, as we peel back the weeds and we move forward, because we can't keep going backwards, we need to understand that the clock is not going to wait for us. The FTA deadlines for funding are not going to change. They're not going to wait on us. So we need to figure out how to work this out and move forward for the transit that is needed on Campbellton Road. The bottom line is all of the money, as long as it stays on the corridor, the community can work with MARTA and the city to make sure we get what we want and need. And thank you in advance for making sure that that happens, because as you know, I will continue to come back and make sure that we get what we need. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes public comment for today's meeting. We'll now move to Section F on the agenda, ordinances for a first read. If Mr. Johnson, you could please read them in.
Item number 1, 2020-1524, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor as designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to accept funding from the Georgia Department of Transportation for the Atlanta Traffic Signal Enhancement Program Phase 1 to amend the fiscal year 2022 budget by adding to anticipations and appropriations in the amount not to exceed $320,000.00 to authorize the mayor as designee to enter into agreements with the Georgia Department of Transportation for implementation of grant acceptance and participation and for other purposes. Item number 2, 2020-1525, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to ratify services rendered in connection with contract number FC 9724, Westlake Avenue Bridge Design with Heath and Lineback Engineers Incorporated on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation and to execute renewal number 2 to the contract to begin retroactively on May 9th, 2022, giving a new expiration date of May 8th, 2023, for time only with no additional funding required and for other purposes. Item number 3, 2020-1532, an ordinance by Transportation Committee authorizing the Chief Financial Officer or his designee to amend the fiscal year 2023 General Government Capital Overlay Fund budget on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation by transferring between projects the sum of $6,337,630.00 and transportation impact fees for the use under FC 9661, Transportation and Infrastructure Construction Services with contracts listed herein for the purpose of modernizing traffic signals, communication corridors, complete streets, and intersection improvement projects to increase railway system capacity and for other purposes.
Thank you. That concludes ordinances for a first read. We'll hear them at our next committee meeting. We'll now move to Section G on the agenda, ordinances for a second reading, which are ordinances that we'll vote on today that have been with us for a week or two. Mr. Johnson, can you lead us through ordinances for a second read? And I recognize that a number of them will be taken in a block.
Item number 4, 2020-1487, an ordinance by Transportation Committee establishing the fiscal year 2023 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund, Airport Passenger Facility Charge Fund, Airport Customer Facility Charge Fund, and Aviation Encumbrance Program budgets by transferring to and from appropriations in the amount of $409,530,960.00 to provide funding for various projects at Hartsfield Jackson Atlanta International Airport and for other purposes.
Mr. Bayadari.
B.B. Odari, Airport General Manager. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, City Council member. Before I present this paper, as you saw, our intern, a number of them are here today. They're having fun. I'm having fun with them. We're just knocking it out of the ballpark. Many of them sitting here today, this is their first time in City Hall. This is their first time witnessing a legislative session. So, again, I would like to recognize our intern.
Welcome.
This paper is to establish our FY23 funding for various projects. We will be coming back to this body for authorization and approval once those projects are established and we're ready to execute.
I will move to approve. Are there any questions from the body? Second by Westmoreland. Yeah, please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 5, 2020-1488, an ordinance by Transportation Committee to amend the FY 2023 Airport Renewal and Extension Fund budget by anticipating and appropriating the transfer of equity closeout from the Airport Revenue Fund to the Airport Renewal and Extension Fund in the amount of $188,838,816.05 and for other purposes.
Mr. Bayadari.
So this is normally at the end of each fiscal year, this is the balance that remained from our expense versus revenue. In the last two fiscal years, 2020 and 2021, a total of $188 million we want to move from our expense account into the renewal extension account, and this money will be used for projects that are not eligible for federal funding and others.
Great. So this paper and the previous paper amount to almost $600 million. These are it says for projects and for other purposes, and you're transferring dollars over for specific projects. You'll still be coming back to us for approval.
Correct. This is money that we already
runway or concourse, whatever it may be. But this is just the bigger.
Yeah, this is leftover money from our revenue versus expense. So we're just putting it in the bucket right now, needing authority to move it from operating to renewal and extension, and then we'll come back for approval for individual project and funding.
Thank you. Councilmember Juan.
Thank you, Chair. I do have a question in terms of, was this in line with what was originally projected in the FY22 budget? I know that the last year was a little unpredictable and kind of turbulent, but were we ahead or behind what was projected?
Yes, it is, Council Member, because last year, although it was unpredictable, when we saw the surge of passenger came back, our revenue surged. So last year revenue normally is about $100 million a year. Last year was $65 million flow over into 5502.
So, but the $188 million that we're now your surplus for the year, was that above or below what was originally? I mean, every year in the budget there is a line item in terms of what we think the...
Right, it's around $100 million.
Okay, so it was 100.
In 20 it was 123, exceeded our forecast, and last year, of course.
Okay, so we're in a good position. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Lewis.
And Councilmember Juan asked some of the questions I was going to ask. I can tell we're in a good position. You're doing an awesome job at the airport, and I can just see the transparency, even telling us now this is a pot of money that you're putting here. You're going to come back to us and talk to us about the projects when you put them in place. I'm extremely excited about what y'all are doing there, and super happy to see my nephew, Antoine Brown, sitting in the crowd. I used to change that boy's Pampers.
So we have City Attorney Ty's daughter is sitting in the crowd here too.
Oh, so happy to see y'all. Thank you again.
I will move to approve item number 5, second by Juan. Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Yeah.
Will everyone please vote? Will everyone please vote? Vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Mr. Chair, may we take items 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 15 together as a block? These legislative items are for the installation of traffic calming devices. There is no objection from the committee.
Please do.
Item number 6, 2020-1509, an ordinance by Councilmember Antonio Lewis authorizing the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on Beatty Avenue Southwest from Deckner Avenue Southwest to the end of the road and for other purposes. Item number 8, 2020-1511, an ordinance by Councilmember Antonio Lewis authorizing the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on Nelms Drive Southwest and for other purposes. Item number 9, 2020-1512, an ordinance by Councilmember Antonio Lewis authorizing the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on 7th Street Southwest between Arthur Street Southwest and Mary Street Southwest and for other purposes. Item number 10, 2020-1513, an ordinance by Councilmember Antonio Lewis authorizing the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on Pierce Street Southwest between 10th Avenue Southwest and Allen Avenue Southwest and for other purposes. Item number 12, 2020-1515, an ordinance by council members Dustin Hillis and Byron Amos authorizing the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices on Baker Road Northwest between Hamilton E. Holmes Northwest and South Elizabeth Place Northwest in order to reduce speeding and for other purposes. And lastly, item number 15, 2020-1522, an ordinance by Councilmember Liliana Bakhtiari authorizing the mayor or his designee to install traffic calming devices along Gracewood Avenue Southeast between Moreland Avenue Southeast and Gresham Avenue Southeast and for other purposes.
Atlanta Department of Transportation.
Good morning, Jessica Fulton, Deputy Commissioner, Capital Projects, ATL DOT. We have no objections to these pieces of legislation at this time.
Wonderful. Motion by Juan, second by Westmoreland. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. These items are found favorable. Mr. Chair, can you take items number 11, 13, and 14 together as a block if there is no objection from the committee?
No objection.
Item number 11. (22-01514), an ordinance by Councilmember Andrea L. Boone authorizing the mayor as designee to make the intersection of West Ontario Avenue Southwest and Emerald Avenue Southwest an all-way stop control intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes. Item number 13, 22-01519, an ordinance by Councilmember Amir R. Faroki authorizing the mayor as designee to make the intersections of Edgewood Avenue Northeast, Euclid Avenue Northeast, and Delta Place Northeast all-way stop control intersections, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersections and for other purposes. Item number 14, 22-01521, an ordinance by Councilmember Liliana Bakhtiari authorizing the mayor or his designee to make the intersection of Trotty Street Northeast and Howard Street Northeast an all-way stop control intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes.
Ms. Fulton.
Good morning. We have no objections to these pieces of legislation at this time.
Motion to approve by Juan, second by Westmoreland. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is open.
Sorry about that, Mr.
The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. These items are found favorable. Mr. Chair, that takes us back to item number 7, 22-01510, an ordinance by Councilmember Antonio Lewis authorizing the mayor or his designee to make the intersection of Murphy Avenue Southwest and Dill Avenue Southwest an all-way stop control intersection, to authorize the Atlanta Department of Transportation to install stop signs at the intersection and for other purposes, and the department requested that this item will be held.
Councilmember Lewis, are you okay with holding it?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want a motion to do so? Motion by Lewis, second by Westmoreland. Is that okay?
Yep.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is held. This takes us to resolutions, section H. Item number 1622R3859, a resolution by Councilmember Liliana Bakhtiari requesting MARTA to require developers to provide bus shelters that are along the bus routes of all new commercial and multifamily residential development within the city of Atlanta and for other purposes.
Terrific. Councilmember Bakhtiari, thank you for joining us. Would you like to speak to this paper?
Yes, so I think that some of the, Councilmember Juan, I need you to get it together. This paper, obviously, the intention is to get them to build bus shelters. It's come to my attention that we can actually possibly do this through zoning, that MARTA is not able to force developers to do this. So I don't know if we want to hold this and then amend it, because I still need to work on that with planning. So I will leave that to the discretion of the chair.
If it needs to be introduced as a zoning paper, I suggest perhaps we file it
and I do another
introduce
paper.
it and we'll work. Yeah.
I can do that.
Motion to file by Juan, second by Faroki, but Councilmember Waits, would you like to weigh in?
I just simply wanted to be added to the legislation. Thank you.
This legislation is going down, so you don't want to. You don't want to sign on to the zoning
Freshman
paper.
hazing.
Yeah.
Don't worry. So next week when it's reintroduced as a zoning paper, y'all be on it. I'll go ahead and.
So motion to file by Juan, second by Faroki. Please open the vote.
And Marta, I apologize for making y'all come all the way down here today. So
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is filed.
And thank you to our friends from MARTA for being here today. We appreciate your presence.
Item number 17, 22R3865, a resolution by Councilmembers Keisha Shawn Waits and Mary Norwood to request that the Atlanta Department of Transportation prepare a comprehensive plan for traffic mitigation in Atlanta City Council District 8 and to present such plan to the Atlanta City Council to request that until such time as the comprehensive traffic mitigation plan shall be prepared and presented the Atlanta City Council, that ATL DOT shall temporarily suspend the commencement of any intersection improvements within District 8 and for other purposes. And the department requests that this item be held.
Ms. Fulton, any further comment on that?
No comment.
Okay. I will move to hold it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Waits. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 6 yeas, 0 nays. This item is held. Mr. Chair, can we take items number 18 and 19 together as a block?
I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, I was distracted. Can you please repeat yourself?
Can we take items number 18 and 19 together as a block?
Please do. Apologies.
Item number 18, 22R3867, a resolution by Transportation Committee supplementing a task order fund in the amount not to exceed $24,500,000.00 for use under contract number FC 8640, Construction Management Support Services at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, with ATL Construction Management Partners, a joint venture to provide construction management support services for the Department of Aviation on a task order basis. For fiscal year 2023, all services will be charged to and paid from the account numbers listed herein and for other purposes. Item number 19, 22R3868, a resolution by Transportation Committee supplementing a task order fund in the amount of $29,000,000.00 for use under contract number FC 7744, Program Management Support Services, Hartsfield-Jackson, Atlanta International Airport, with Atlanta Aviation Associates, a joint venture to provide program management support services for the Department of Aviation on a task order basis. All services will be charged to and paid from the account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Mr. Bayadari.
These two resolutions are for funding of our program management and construction management contracts, and it's the funding amount is based on the planned work for fiscal year 23.
Councilor Juan.
Thank you. Mr. Biodari, do you know the history in terms of the funds that have already been allocated in previous task orders to each of these and what they are in size relative to the $24.5 million and the $29 million?
So for the first 5 years of this contract, we have allocated $87.052 million to the construction management contract, of which we have paid to date $75.086 million. And for the program management, give me a second here, let me pull that up. We have allocated $153.25 million, of which we have paid to date $143.51 million.
Motion to approve by Juan, second by Overstreet. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Mr. Chair, we had word from the department that we can reconsider item number 17.
Okay, I will move to reconsider 17. Second by Overstreet. Please open the vote on the motion to reconsider.
Vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. The motion to reconsider has been approved.
This is an ATL DOT paper, so Mr. Bayadar, if you just give it 1 second. Ms. Fulton, would you like to speak to this item? Thank you.
Good morning. We ask that this paper be allowed to move forward. We have no objections to this resolution and encourage good traffic planning at the district level at all times. We just wanted noted that this study is not included in our FY23 budget, so it will have to be funded from the council members' discretionary funds. We're okay with this paper moving forward.
Okay. Terrific. That's the same paper.
Okay, I need to amend it.
No. There's a question on the floor as to whether the paper needs to be amended to reflect the funding source, in this case, council district discretionary funds. I'm not sure that's necessary. If the department is, if it's no funding associated with it, and the department says we're not going to pay for it, Councilmember Norwood can pay for it, or Councilmember Waits can chip in, so she's a co-signer. Oh, no. Just kidding.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Chair, I wonder if we still should continue holding this. I'm not sure that the author of this paper or the other author is aware of this, so rather than move it through and kind of impose an obligation on her part without her concurrence, I think we should continue to hold this.
We spoke with her on yesterday and made Councilmember Norwood aware that we did not have funding for this in our budget.
Right, but did she say that she was ready to commit her funds? Did she indicate that to you?
She indicated that she had some funding already set aside for this effort.
Ms. Overstreet.
So I bring that question up because if this is our first and you'd like to see more, I actually do have like a transportation plan for my district, but I don't have a traffic study. So I'm trying to make sure that going forward, if we're doing this by the district, that our legislation is sound. So I'm trying to see if this is the time to add that funding information in here or just leave it out altogether for all of us. Anyone that's willing to fund?
Once we commit and get a consultant to do this study, we will have to commit funding at that time. So the funding will have to be listed with that contract.
Does that need to be listed at this time, or it can be done in the future?
It can be done in the future.
Okay.
Right.
And since Councilmember Norwood has already spoken with them, I'm fine moving this forward.
If Councilmember Norwood's okay with it, and from what I hear from the co-sponsor, the answer is yes. I will move to approve. Yeah. Second by Waits. Please open the vote.
The vote is open.
Thank you.
The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable. Item number 20, 22R 3869, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor as designee on behalf of the City of Atlanta for the benefit of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport to execute an agreement for RFP S 1220114 on-call audit services with Tax and Accounting Solutions Incorporated for an initial term of 3 years with 2 one-year renewal options at the city's sole discretion in the amount not to exceed $740,000.00 with all contracted work to be charged to and paid from account numbers described herein and for other purposes. And Mr. Chair, this item needs to be amended to attach the IPRO report.
Terrific. I will, Mr. Bader, before you speak to us, I will move to amend to attach the IPRO report. Second by Juan. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This item has been amended.
Mr. Baydari.
This is an auditing contract. I perform that we follow all the process, and this was done in accordance with the solicitation rules and regulation. It's an initial 3-year term to validate all the controls we have in place are being followed by concessionaires, construction contractors, and operations contracts that we have out there. And I do recommend that I do need this to validate our controls.
Motion to approve as amended by Juan, second by Faroki. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. Item is favorable as amended. Item number 21, 22R 22R3870, a resolution by the Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation to enter into Amendment Number 7 for contract number FC 8786, Program Management Team Services with Atkins North America Incorporated to add additional funding in the amount not to exceed $3,580,000.00 and for other purposes.
Ms. Fulton.
Good morning. This will allow us to add additional funding to the PMT contract. We are awaiting our general engineering contract to be in place, which will take over these services. However, we're still waiting to be able to execute task orders on it.
Great. And can you explain what the PMT contract is or what that means?
It's our program management contract that we have to manage the Renew Bond and T-SPLOST program. Currently, Atkins is our consultant on that. Their team is our consultant. And in order for there not to be a gap in those services, we need to add additional funds until our GEC contract is online.
And the source of these funds is coming from?
The source of those funds should be T-SPLOST funds. T-SPLOST.
I'll move to approve. Second by Overstreet.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This item is found favorable. Item number 22R3871, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor as designee to execute an assumption of indemnification agreement with Atlanta Beltline Incorporated pursuant to the underlying agreement between the city and Norfolk Southern Railway Company and for other purposes.
Ms. Fulton.
Good morning. We have no objections to this legislation at this time.
Councilmember Juan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Fulton, I'd just like a little more information as to what this is and what it is and what the indemnification agreement covers. Just a little more context, please.
Okay, so we have the actual project that is taking place. The contract from Norfolk Southern required the city to indemnify Norfolk Southern. Per state law, the city is not able to indemnify the railroad. Atlanta Beltline agreed to enter into that indemnification agreement on our behalf. This just allows that to take place.
And is there a reason? So I was curious. I mean, I'm looking for Exhibit A, which would be the actual indemnification agreement. It's not in here. Am I missing something in terms of our legislative system? But while they're looking it up, are we basically this moves any sort of exposure over to the Beltline?
Yes,
so it
that's
moves
correct.
it off of the city?
That's correct.
Councilmember Watt, is in the document that reads transmittal. If you look into the system, it's the first attempt. It begins on. Let me see.
I still don't see it.
Fourth page
It's
on the
on there.
attachment.
I must have gotten in to the next piece of legislation.
Item 22, about 5 or 6 pages down.
All right. Thank you.
Is that a motion to approve, Councilmember Juan? I will move to approve. Is there a second? Second by Juan. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This item is favorable.
Thank you.
Item number 23, 22R3872, a resolution by Transportation Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee to issue task order FC 10640A-87 under contract FC 1640A, job order contracting services large with Asher Roehead Fox JOC joint venture for replacement of expansion joints on the Marietta Road Bridge and Bolton Road Bridge on behalf of the Atlanta Department of Transportation. in the amount not to exceed $260,790.69. All contracted work will be charged to and paid from the fund, department, organization, and account numbers listed herein and for other purposes.
Ms. Fulton.
We have no objections to this legislation at this time.
Motion to approve by Juan, second by Faroki. Please open the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed. 5 yeas, 0 nays. This item is found favorable. And Mr. Chair, that concludes our legislative items for today.
Terrific. We have had an efficient meeting this morning. In closing, I'll note that MARTA has recently announced 2 public hearings for the Clifton Corridor Transit Conversation, one on Thursday, July 14th, 6:30 p.m. at the Emory School of Public Health Auditorium, the other on Saturday, July 16th from 11 to 4 p.m. at MARTA headquarters, and there'll be virtual public meetings as well on July 19th at 11 a.m. and July 20th at 6:30 p.m. I suspect they'll also continue to promote that publicly, but we will do the same. So any other comments in closing from the body? Barring none, this meeting is adjourned.